He could have cracked a smile, but it was clear today George Osborne had decided there must be no hint of complacency.
The Chancellor of the Exchequer, the Right Honourable George Osborne.
So even though he could report for the first time at a budget that growth in the economy is taking off, the Chancellor preferred to dwell on how much there was still to do.
The job is far from done. Our country still borrows too much. We still don't invest enough, export enough or save enough.
There were measures to help household budgets, most importantly raising the level at which people start to pay income tax to £10,500 from next year. There's a penny off a pint of beer, a fuel duty rise due in September is frozen, and bingo tax cut from 20 to 10%. The Chancellor said this year the economy would finally get back to its pre-recession level.
We had the biggest bank bailout in the world. We had the biggest deficit since the war. We suffered the deepest recession in modern times. Or as the Shadow Chancellor put it, some mistakes were made.
But he said even with growth there'd still have to be further cuts in public spending. And so welfare spending, not including pensions and job seekers' allowance, will be capped by law with a vote in Parliament next week. But George Osborne had been under pressure from his own side to do something for those thought of as traditional Tory voters, and he obliged. There was help for savers, including a new ISA limit of £15,000 from July, help for business to invest and export, a promise to build 270,000 new homes, and for pensioners, the biggest shake-up of the system in decades, with pensioners allowed more flexibility over how they use the money they've saved. George Osborne said this was a budget to keep Britain on the right course and reward those doing the right thing.
With the help of the British people, we're turning our country around. We're building a resilient economy. This is a budget for the makers, the doers and the savers, and I commend it to the House.
Then it was Labour's turn, and if some of the budget themes sounded familiar, so too did the attack from the Leader of the Opposition.
Living standards falling for 44 out of 45 months under this Prime Minister, unmatched since records began. No amount of smoke and mirrors can hide it. And we already know the answer to the question millions of people will be asking in 2015. Are they better off now than they were 5 years ago? The answer is no.
Despite all the noise inside, this budget was all about sticking to a course the government says is working. The country must now decide if that is good enough. Andy Bell, 5 News.